Can Professor Maurice Kamto still make it to the ballot for the 2025 presidential election despite the ruling of the Constitutional Council? Many have been asking this question in Cameroon, that can the main opposition, one of the main opposition leaders, the person who came second during the 2018 presidential election, can he still appear on the ballot even after the Supreme Court, the Constitutional Council, has given its final ruling? The question lies on Article 128 on Cameroon's electoral code. According to Article 128 of Cameroon's electoral code, it says that replacement, talk about replacement of a candidate after the Constitutional Council has given its final verdict and the eligibility. According to 128, the first section says that if a candidate presented by a political party is declared ineligible by the Constitutional Council, the party can propose a replacement. Requirement for this party, I take it again, that if a candidate presented by a political party is declared ineligible by the Constitutional Council, the party can propose a replacement, and that will mean the candidate will also follow the eligibility. In the case of Professor Maurice Kamto, the Constitutional Council affirmed, or ELECAM, affirmed that Professor Maurice Kamto met all the criteria that needed to be a presidential candidate. But the fact is that his party had internal squabbles and leadership tussle as well. So because of that, the candidates under that party were rejected. Now, if Professor Maurice Kamto needs to be on the ballot, as many are asking, can he make use of 128? This would depend now on a party whose candidate has been rejected for not meeting the criteria, like that of Zipan. One candidate was rejected. One candidate who that Elekam had actually published his name and accepted his candidacy on the list. He was later on rejected after Elekam filed an appeal at the Constitutional Council that he did not meet the criteria. So Zipan was removed. Can Professor Maurice come to replace him? Yes, that would depend. He can replace him. And this, the law says it will be done 3 days. 3 days after the Constitutional Council has given the ruling, which means that as of yesterday, Wednesday, Tuesday, today Wednesday, tomorrow Thursday. So these 3 days, which means that within these 3 days, Zipan party, that's the MPC, or the MP party, either MP party, can now go and discuss with Professor Maurice Kamto and make him eligible to be in their party by giving him a party card and accepting and investing him. Second, if the candidate, what if in case of death, let's say they have published the names of the candidate finalists and one of the candidates die on the eve of the election, what happened? Can that candidate be replaced? Yes. The Constitution says in under that same 128 that if a candidate of the presidency dies between the publication of the finalists and the elections of the finalists and the election day, the electoral code does not explicitly allow for a replacement. However, this is a critical point. Unlike the provision for an ineligible candidate, the death of a candidate typically trigger a postponement of the election. This is often done to allow the deceased party to regroup or give the public time to react, but the specifics are often handled on a case-by-case basis through a presidential decree or a ruling by the Constitutional Council, which means that ahead of the election, between now and October 12, if a candidate dies in a particular party that has already had an endorsement, there is a possibility that the election will be postponed such that the party is not treated unfair, for the party to regroup and now discuss with the Constitutional Council, and the head of state will actually sign a presidential decree pushing forward the election. That is according to the Constitution. Now, permanent incapacity. What if the candidate actually had an accident or has a malice or an illness that will make he or she ineligible permanently. The Constitution went further in stating that the Constitution of Cameroon addresses the issue of the President of the Republic and permanently incapacitated. Now, in this case, therefore, there could be room for that discussion, but this will also be done on a case-by-case basis. Ladies and gentlemen, now, having answered that question, having explained this detail, the question is, can Professor Maurice Kamto make his way on the ballot? You have listened to what I've read about 128. You two should go and do your research about 128. However, my advice to Professor Maurice Kamto is that this should be more of a push to him to pick a political party that already has a valid candidate. Tell all his militants who are angry, who feel that injustice was done, and use this injustice as a leverage to get his militants to go and vote for a particular party, endorses a candidate, vote for that particular party, and negotiate power with that political party, so that when that power party wins, they call for snap election and they can regroup again. Or, apart of that, there's no other way.